everyone, and this is my review for WWE Smackdown Live on March 14th, 2017. This was a very interesting show. Mainly on the aspect of how much they focused on, and rightfully so, honestly, with the way the story was going from the week before, with the Shane McMahon, AJ Styles storyline, and where they were seemingly going to go with it here for the very near future. So they started off the show with Daniel Bryan talking with, you would assume, Shane or somebody on the phone, and he gets interrupted by AJ Styles. He was just going through what was going to happen throughout the night. On there, like announcing Miz TV, announcing another match, and everything to go along with it. AJ Styles comes in, interrupts, and he says, basically he says that he wants to talk with Shane, everything in that aspect, and he was gonna go to the ring to have or he basically said he was gonna go to the ring and vent his frustration, and then he was gonna have a conversation with Shane later in the night about his career or something in that sense. And Bryan was like, "Okay, man, you got your career to think about here. Don't do anything too crazy." So Styles does go out, cuts a pretty good, I would say a pretty good promo, though a promo that you can't necessarily say that's a heel promo, because pretty much you could agree with everything on it. You could literally agree with everything about, he talked about having to jump through hoops and not even getting his one-on-one rematch for WrestleMania and everything in that sense. So in the sense, the promo and the mic work was good, but it wasn't necessarily a heel promo by any stretch of the imagination. So he talks about having to jump through all these hoops to try to get to the main event, looking like that he was going to go there, and then Randy Orton burns down Bray Wyatt's house, and instead of, going to jail or getting arrested or anything in that sense, he gets to go to WrestleMania, and he was and be in the main event of WrestleMania, or at least how they're putting it, and also discussing that he doesn't even have a match for WrestleMania. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world, or the best wrestler in the world, and he doesn't even have a match for WrestleMania, and says he and Shane were going to have a conversation about his career, if he has a career, in any way. So kind of looming to what they were going to go for a little bit later on in the evening. So up next, after all that, you had Becky Lynch going up against Natalya. In what was a decent match, Becky going over here, Becky getting to look strong in the terms of having a match going into that multi-woman, whatever the match is going to be, at WrestleMania for the SmackDown Women's title. Like I said, decent match between the two of them. Both of them know how to work. I thought it was a rather decent match between both sides. No real story build, just kind of momentum building. In the sense of everything. And then afterwards, Carmella comes in and attacks both of them, kind of inserting herself into that match, because they hadn't even put her in the graphic yet for the match itself. They had only gone with the 4 females that were out there from the week before. So it was Mickie James, Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, and Natalya. So Carmella's inserting herself into the fray, into the match itself here by doing so, and kind of adding on to the match, because they basically said it's like all available women's superstars were gonna be in this match. So not a bad way of going. I thought it was a rather decent segment to go along with everything. Good match, and you have a little bit more, and then you have Carmella kind of inserting herself into the fray for the women's title match and building a little bit more story towards that match in some way, shape, or form. Up next, you had the Miz TV segment, and it's billed as like supposed to be a special edition of the Miz TV and everything in that sense. And basically, it ends up being what you think it would be. It's Miz and Maurice, and mostly Maurice, basically because they were their own guest, running down Cena and Nikki Bella and everything to that extent, talking about the Total Divas storyline that they had, where apparently Nikki and Brie had forced her to not get a contract for Total Bellas or something in that sense, down the line, and everything. So that's what they're kind of using, is that storyline to go along with everything, or I guess reality. They're trying to portray it more as reality. Who knows what the actual situation is with that one? You go with whatever. I find reality shows to be more scripted than anything, and I think a lot of other people do too, to go along with it. So you would assume this is just another little storyline. So they continue running down Cena and Nikki. Both of them come down. They charge the ring. Miz and Maurice, they duck out, and of course, Nikki starts going after Maurice, and then eventually challenges her to come into the ring. Obviously, Miz gets on the microphone. It's like she's got nothing to prove inside the ring. She's not going to come down there. And this brings out Daniel Bryan. And, you know, I like the promo from Daniel Bryan on this one. He comes off... It comes off natural when he just like, this is what I want to do. Whatever. To go along with it. And he basically cuts a promo on Miz, talking about how he runs down Miz runs him down for the aspect that he can't wrestle, and it makes him want to punch him in the face. And then he takes his moves and does them poorly, and that makes him want to punch him in the face, and he keeps going on that aspect of it. And then he eventually calls WrestleMania the face punching extravaganza, and makes the mixed tag match between Nikki Bella, John Cena, Maurice, and Miz. This is actually kind of good. I liked it. I liked this segment in the sense of everything. So it came off rather well. At least in my mind, it came off rather well. So throughout the night, you had AJ Styles kind of just sitting in the back, waiting for Shane McMahon to come in. So eventually, he's getting interviewed by Renee Young. It's like, he basically, gives what he's going to do. He's not going to actually have the conversation, but Shane comes in, and AJ Styles kind of sneaks behind a car with everything in that sense. And as Shane is walking in, AJ Styles just attacks Shane McMahon, beats him down throughout the backstage area, and eventually puts Shane McMahon through a car window. And this was a very interesting aspect to it as well. It seemed like Shane McMahon got busted open and everything in that sense, and people eventually break him up, and it was a little bit more Attitude Era-esque with everything. And like I said, it was one of those bits. It's always weird to see blood nowadays in WWE, because they don't typically want to go for that in any way, and they don't allow their superstars to blade anymore or anything in that sense. So it's like, oh, he's bleeding, it must have happened the hard way or something in that sense, or it's a blood packet or something to go along with it. But overall, I thought it was a rather well done segment. I think I'm on the same boat as most people. I don't necessarily want to see AJ Styles fighting Shane McMahon, but it's definitely looking like that's what we're going to get in this case. So it's kind of one of those give and takes. We are going to get AJ Styles in a match at WrestleMania, but it's looking like it has to be with Shane McMahon and everything in that sense. But this leads to the next segment, because you had a backstage segment where, AJ Styles is packing up his bags, everything in that sense. He's about to leave the arena. And he's also getting berated by the Usos, which actually, I kind of like the way they did this. It was one of those bits that this attack was so heinous that not even the other heels in the company like what he did. Like, they don't even agree with what he did. Like, what was it? Even JBL, who's pronouncedly a heel, though he kind of goes on the aspect of saying when something's heinous, he doesn't agree with it and everything to go along with that. But so he was backstage getting berated by the Usos. He's beginning to leave. Security comes up. Daniel Bryan comes up, and basically Daniel Bryan fires AJ Styles in that sense. And I like the aspect that, Daniel Bryan comes up to him and is like, I know you're one of the greatest wrestlers in the world, but I've lost all respect for you. And then AJ's like, threatened, what are you gonna do? Fire me? Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. And just like gets him out of the arena. I like that aspect. Is like he doesn't just go with an area of doing it overly dramatic. and wanting to fire him. It's like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to fire you. Bye. And then gone from the arena. Not a bad, not a bad segment, not a bad setup. I liked how they did the setup and everything. I may not be the biggest fan of that particular match, but it looks like that's what they're going to go with. So, let's go into other aspects, because I kind of skipped over a match here, because you have Mickie James going up against Alexa Bliss. Mickie James wins this, a decent match between both of them, and the biggest thing about this one, you saw this for the next couple of matches, really. The crowd was kind of dead throughout the entire thing, and that was the whole aspect that a lot of focus was being done with this whole Shane AJ thing. And they were kind of dead for the matches, kind of waiting for the next thing to happen. And also the aspect that, this is kind of a heel versus heel match. Yeah, Mickie James kicked Alexa Bliss in the head from the week before, but it's still kind of heel versus heel. It's not necessarily a babyface versus heel type facet. I thought they worked a rather decent match, but again, the crowd just kind of wasn't into this one. And then right after that, all that stuff with AJ Styles and Shane happened, which we just got done talking about. And then you had Mojo Rawley going up against Dolph Ziggler. Nothing match. Kind of, they were playing the whole aspect of these guys are probably going to be in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. And they play the whole aspect that Dolph Ziggler gets thrown over the top rope like 3 times, and you get him, even JBL on there is like, if this was the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, Dolph would have just been eliminated 3 times. There was really nothing to this match. Dolph just kind of walks out, gets counted out, doesn't care in that sense, which I kind of like in the terms of his character, that he is like, it's like, I really don't need this match. I'm just going to leave. I'm just gone in that sense. And that was okay. That was okay with that sense and everything, but I wasn't too keen on this one either. So you had Randy Orton. He comes out and basically starts, cutting his promo on his entire plan and basically fully explaining his plan on Bray Wyatt, what he was going to do to Bray Wyatt, not just for WrestleMania, but like the whole reason why he joins them and everything in that sense. He had to get in there to earn his trust and everything. This was a pretty good promo from all sides. I thought this was rather well done. I like the story that they're going with here. And basically he goes off and says, Bray Wyatt, like, his biggest fear in life is being alone and not having anyone around him, which is what he is right now. He's all alone. And Bray shows up on the Tron, and basically goes through this diatribe. It's like saying, it's like, you thought you burned Sister Abigail's soul, but no, she's gonna live through me now, and kind of goes through a whole like baptism and a baptism of like Satan proportions and everything to go along with it. He takes the dirt, rubs it on his arms, and then takes some more and then rubs it on his face and kind of laughs around. This was very creepy from Bray, and I really liked what they were going for. They were trying to still depict him as kind of the heel in this situation, even though he was he was kind of the one who had everything done against him to go along with it, but he still comes off as like trying to say, it's like, yeah, this is all gonna be like Satan's work and everything to go along with it. And I thought this promo from both sides did rather well, and it kind of explains the whole aspect of how quickly they went to the turn, even though it had been kind of a slow burn to the turn of Randy Orton turning on Bray Wyatt, and then eventually leading to the burning down of Bray Wyatt's place. So again, not a bad way of going. I kind of liked what they did here on this sense of everything. Up next, they had a backstage promo with Baron Corbin, basically talking about what he had done to Dean Ambrose and basically laying the challenge out for WrestleMania. It's like, if he can get back in time for WrestleMania, I'm going to take his title and everything else away from him to go along with it. Not a bad promo from Baron Corbin, but nothing much what you would expect. Nothing much more than what you would expect. There was a rather short promo, so nothing too much to talk about. But I like the aspect that he is on a on a way of trying to make sure he's taking what he wants, and he wants the Intercontinental title, and he's going to do everything in his power and try to take everything, not just the title, but everything away from Dean Ambrose as well. So in the terms of like his health, his career, and everything to go along with that. So not a bad way of going. Up next, this leads to the main event match of the night, or basically the main event segment, which was the American Alpha going up against the Usos. This match was decent. Let's not get this wrong. The match was decent, but there's no build to this tag division at all right now. Like, no one cared during this match. Crowd was again dead for this match, just kind of like they were for the Alexa Bliss and Mickie James one. More on that one, it was more on the aspect of like, who do we cheer? And this one, it's like there's really no build towards the tag division. And don't get me wrong, I'm a big American Alpha fan because of how they built them up in NXT, but there's no real build to this. And I know they're trying to portray the Usos as like a very vicious tag team and everything in that sense, but even during this match, the match felt secondary in that sense of everything, because they continually cut to this backstage area, to the backstage thing of like Shane McMahon leaving the trainer's room and looked like he's going to leave the arena, but then as he was about to leave the arena, he turns back, and that is like, and so they were kind of hinting that he was going to come out or something in that sense. So it kind of made this match seem secondary. It's good to see and then of course they have the Usos go over again. For the second time of the night, champion goes down inside of a non-title match to go along with it. So that's kind of building. I would assume building their SmackDown tag team title match for WrestleMania. That's the way that they're going to use it. And I do like the heel Usos with what they've been doing. They're kind of like, they come off as more vicious. They come off as like true heels. But again, there's really no build behind this tag division right now, and it seems to be they seem to be trying to do it now, but it's a little too late going into WrestleMania. Like, there's no hype behind a SmackDown tag team title match going into WrestleMania. And you can even say that about all the tag team titles in general, at least on both Raw and SmackDown side of everything. So, right after this match happens, Usos are, of course, celebrating. Shane McMahon comes out. They show him going through the gorilla position. I like the aspect that they show inside of the the quote-unquote gorilla position. Before he comes out, grabs a microphone, and basically, in no short order of words, says, AJ Styles is complaining about not having an opponent for WrestleMania. Well, he has one now. Doesn't say the name. You would assume it's Shane, unless they have Shane have a surrogate, which would be amazing if the surrogate ends up being like Shinsuke Nakamura or something like that. But you would assume that's the indication of Shane McMahon versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania. Though they are playing off the aspect that Bryan fired AJ earlier in the night, so they could even play this off as maybe like a Raw versus SmackDown thing, because AJ Styles is technically fired. He could go sign with Raw now or something in that sense, and there has been rumor that he was going to be going to Raw at some point in time, whether it be after WrestleMania or if they do it beforehand to kind of even try to make it like a Raw versus SmackDown type thing as well. So we'll see where everything goes with that one. But overall, this week's SmackDown, I'm not going to lie, I don't really want to watch Shane versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania in the terms of having a match, but the stuff that they did tonight was good. The stuff with AJ Styles and Shane was good tonight. I like that. I like the segment with Miz, Maurice, and Cena and Nikki Bella. I've been liking that program as well. It's kind of one of those shocker programs that is like, okay, that's just gonna happen. It's like, okay, this is actually kind of interesting to watch. Type moments. The stuff with Orton and Bray I thought was good as well. And the aspect behind the Becky Lynch and Natalya match I thought was also good, a good way of going with everything and adding Carmella to that particular match. But otherwise, like my main gripes are the tag division. They've got nothing behind that tag division in any way, shape, or form. But though it seems like they're building for a match with American Alpha and the Usos, though that one's gonna like it. There's very little build, and they're trying to build it now, and I think it's a little too late with everything. But we'll see how that one ends up playing out. They still got a couple weeks on that one. Of course, they're building up the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal and everything in that sense. But overall, I thought the SmackDown was pretty good. It had its downs. It had like its down points, but it was done rather well this week. I liked what they did with a lot of the stuff, even though, like I said, I liked the stuff that they did with Shane and AJ. I'm not the biggest fan of that particular match in that sense of everything. But we'll see how everything plays off. They could surprise us at WrestleMania with Shane and AJ Styles as well. So we'll see how they end up playing off of everything. So that is my review this week for WWE Smackdown Live. I thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a great day.